Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome again to another episode on Talk Architecture Podcast with your host, Naziaty Yaacob. I'm continuing with the series on the overall title of Why Are Design Drawings Getting Worse? Explained by the architecture, engineering, and construction professionals. This has a link below to the LinkedIn article by Igor Goryachev. We're going today with the topic on speed versus quality. In actual fact, the second topic earlier on automation and BIM tools, which is the over-reliance on that, is connected with the third point or the third topic on speed versus quality. In fact, those who cannot use the BIM tools properly, it will show their incompetencies. And we know there are several factors that could result in that incompetencies, and which I stressed out the ability to design manually. Let us look at this third topic like a continuum from the second topic. I will read out the paragraphs that is published in this article on speed versus quality. The construction industry moves a lot faster today, and with firmer deadlines, teams are being pushed to complete more in less time than to take their sweet time. When designers and detailers race against time, the quality of drawings suffers. Modeling on such a rushed timeline may lack a review and check details in which mistakes are caught. These mistakes then appear on site when the work actually starts. Key information that otherwise may have been checked to meet a deadline is skimmed over, leading to costly rework or delays. Many business professionals feel this frenetic pace is hurting the quality of projects at every level. There's a quote by a project designer from the United States. The person says, constant deadlines mean teams are churning out, quote, half-baked, unquote, drawings that look complete but lack the detail needed for construction. Quality is sacrificed in the name of meeting deadlines. Why is there a lack of quality? Why is it half-baked? You come up with a set of drawings which shows lines. There are lines there, and you don't understand what those lines are about. If these are plans and sections and elevations, these lines are just decoration or just patterns that you create like a graphic design. Because if it means something, the lines means what? In elevation, it means what it is. What does it mean? It means a particular element set out in a way that it is an element that is part of the whole, parts of the whole that makes the whole. And it's not just there for rendering. When you confuse rendering with just elements that have lines in elevation. Now, I would suggest that graphic representation could be a problem. But then this is someone who is in the architecture world, who's in the architecture construction industry, and they were interviewed and they were employed by the company. So they have the competence to be able to do graphic representation properly. Now, I would like to negate that viewpoint that this person doesn't understand graphic representation. I'll just go and focus on construction and details. So how is it in plan, in section and elevation, construction details that is drawn is giving the correct information how to construct? Why is it that lines are drawn to confuse, or there is a certain lack of lines that shows exactly how the construction works? What is construction? What is material? So now, if someone is competent enough and they can use the software and come up with the drawings, if they're competent enough, they know exactly what they're doing. They actually understand each line, whether it's a thick line, they cut in section, or whether it is an elevational line, and so on. They know exactly what they're doing. And if they have to render in terms of providing the information to convey what type of material that element is, they know exactly how to draw the representation or the graphic representation of those elements. If it's timber cut, if it's timber sawn but not, polished, or shall we say planed, that have different representation. So we're looking at competency in actually doing the correct graphic representation. I mean, if you have the understanding about construction, how things put together, the size of the beams, the size of the rafters, and the size of the purlins and joints, floor, where you cut the floor, where you cut the roof, if you understand exactly those material, how they put together, there shouldn't be any problem in graphic representation. There are two things here, which is actually one thing, above all. It is not understanding how things are put together. So how do you actually understand those? It should be done when you were a student of architecture, that you understand how to put the things are put together, because like I said earlier, you did case studies and sketch and observe from observation what is the construction and how it is. At the top of my head, there is something called making a model. Just say you decide to make a model. One is to, shall we say, 20, or 1 is to 50 even, of Le Corbusier's Villa Savoy, or some building. Okay, any building which is kind of like not that big is a bungalow or a villa. And then from your model, the model should be, from the model, you're able to be able to put the right elements together. Then after that, you draw from the model and elevation. I think that exercise would provide enough understanding about the elements. Just say it's a concrete fins, a vertical and horizontal fin with an opening, and the finish is battered concrete, for example, hammered, a bush hammered, like the Brutalis. So when you draw an elevation from your own model, it's what you believe it is to be, and then you draw it, and it is the correct way that you did the elevation based on the model that after you built the model of the preceding studies. Then you realize that, okay, that's the correct way of representation. So when you go into industry, you know exactly what to do. I mean, you don't even have to do a model. You just go to any elevation and draw the elevations. There is like exercises in our, I recall for the students of architecture, whoever that is doing the site section, and there's an adjacent building and they draw the building out, they draw it accurately, they benefit from it. I mean, those usually is a group work. But what if each student were to design different elevations of a street, individual students drawing different elevations of different buildings. Then you can see they join it up together, and then you can see that whether they understand the scale, whether they understand the graphic representation. So when I read the building, okay, what does this mean? What does the circle mean? What does this rendering mean? And so on. I have come across people who don't actually understand about graphic representation in the second year. If they were never called out during that time, they will not know that they did something wrong or is incorrect. These are things that if you found them happening in an office and somebody responsible to doing drawing wrongly, that's the only reason why they couldn't draw it out, because they never actually did that properly when they were in school. Key information otherwise may have been checked to meet the deadline is skimmed over, leading to costly rework or delays. Now, specifically, we're talking about construction industry moving a lot faster today with firmer deadlines and teams in push to complete more in less time and take their sweet time. I don't see there's any excuse. If you're competent enough, you can't draw it out. If there's an indecision by your supervisor or your director, they're not sure whether it's timber or concrete or whatever, and you're waiting for the decision, then it's all about communication then. Because a drawing is drawing, a building is a building, and whatever complex it is, you need to draw them out, right? So the sketch needed to be done by the director or the associate or the designer, and then designers and detailers. So if you're talking about a technical person who is also a designer, and they need to detail it out, they are waiting for the decision making. It's about decision making. You can draw it very fast. In automation and in BIM tool, you can draw it very fast if you're competent in it. For example, I'm not competent in it. I'll do it manually, but I know the graphic representation and I know how the elevation is going to look like. If I want to have a blank concrete wall with the holes, then I'll draw it as such. But I'm making the decision. But what if my boss doesn't want that design? So I'm waiting from the boss or the designer. So this is a problem with communication here. It's not about the software. Why can't they make the decision? So there's an issue of checking, lack of review and check details, meaning that this is the way they work as a team. So key information to make a deadline scheme over. So when you rushed it, just say you're the boss or you're the person who's designing it, and you did not make the decision early enough. You have other things to do. You're so busy. So you tell the person who's drawing it for you, go ahead and just submit it and just do concrete, whatever. It's so vague. So if you don't have a suggestion, a concrete suggestion of decision, then the person will decide it on their own. And that's the problem. There's a communication problem. Why half-baked drawings that look complete but lack the detail needed for construction? Now, have this constant deadline. So if you are late and you come out with the half-baked drawings, it means that you don't have the capacity to actually know that this drawing is half-baked, number one, that you need somebody to check it to tell you that it's half-baked. So there's something lacking in your understanding of a complete drawing, and you think that a half-baked drawing is fine. Either that is diabolical, meaning that you're just bluffing it. So that is crazy, you know. I'm just quoting something from the comments from Maria A. As a civil engineer with 15 years of experience in computer-aided design, primarily AutoCAD, In some years working with Revit modeling, I observe a concerning trend among the new generation of architects and engineers. Many lack fundamental drawing skills, spatial awareness, and volumetric understanding. There's some sort of lack of design skills. There's often little interest in learning these crucial abilities, and some mistakenly believe that modeling in Revit alone constitutes a complete project. Modeling is not a design, yeah? So as I understand it, what Revit could do, you can just come up with 3D, but you need to input the construction and materials. While BIM is a powerful tool, its strength, this is from her as well, its strength is undermined when those responsible for the initial project design lack a solid foundation in construction knowledge and the ability to effectively communicate ideas through drawing. So we're talking about someone who is doing the design lack the solid foundation in construction knowledge. This is something that's not acceptable at all in architecture education. When you draw something, you have a construction knowledge and ability to effectively communicate ideas through drawing. A model, no matter how advanced, cannot replace the clarity and precision of someone who understands how to build and, more importantly, how to draw. It goes hand in hand, the ability how to build and how to draw. It's not like, though she picked out those two things are different, but it should go hand in hand with the skills. So she mentioned also in one of her recent videos, emphasized the need to return to hand drawing. It's not just about tradition. Hand drawing fosters a deeper connection with the design process, enhances comprehension, and strengthens the creative foundation for using tools like Revit and BIM effectively. There are 18 likes in this comment, so that's why I highlighted this comment, which resonate in all of us, understanding about the need for hand drawing or manual drawing. So it goes back to this ability and this skill of understand what is a complete set of drawings. Why is there a shortcut? Why is there a lack of getting students to be able to draw manually and actually knowing how to construct properly? And why is it that we are just letting students go out of School of Architecture not having that complete set of skills? That is when this poster, the comment says the serious lack of solid foundation. It's really mind-boggling. It's like something that is, why did we allow this to happen? That inherent self-checking mechanism that every designer needs to have, and knowing that that the thing is not complete and should not be passed off as being complete, that is really, really something that is fundamental in all of this. And so the speed versus quality topic that has been addressed here, you have to be quicker, but you still need quality because of the construction industry is moving a lot faster with firmer deadlines, and there are investment or bank loans taken out for development, and it's not something to be trifled with. And competencies in drawing and thinking that automation and BIM and Revit and all that will resolve the thing quicker. This is not school anymore. This is the client coming up with the amount of money to build something, expecting competencies, but there is a lack of competencies because of several problems: communication, lack of supervision, poor competencies in terms of drawing skills, design skills. The quality is not moving through. It's not coming through when the client is giving giving money to the consultant. So drawings that look complete but lack of the detail needing for construction is something that's unacceptable. So there we go. We just can't really, it's getting worse. If it's getting worse, then what are the results? What are the problems that inherently could happen? And of course, we're talking about being sued or being, being having a bad press. Social media is going to call you out or something like that. In terms of the client is going to tell everybody that you're incompetent and stuff like that going on, which the loss of sales, the loss of project, and it's not going to be good at all, and people are going to have nervous breakdown or depression and stress related anxieties. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to put a stop at this, and it looks like there are things that we need to address. If it's not in schools of architecture, where is it to be addressed as well? So thank you very much. This is the third topic, and it's called Speed versus Quality. It's from the article by Igor Gorechev, Why Are Design Drawings Getting Worse? Explained by architecture and engineering construction professionals in the LinkedIn link below. So thank you very much for listening.